It's spoiler season, boys and girls, and now that I'm doing this as a full-time gig, it's time for me to get into that free real estate and do a spoiler video. I'm Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and I really like curry. It's one of my favourite things. Yesterday we found out that Rakdos's new mechanic was called Spectacle. What's a Spectacle, I hear you ask? Well, don't worry, Big Daddy PK's here to teach you some stuff. A Spectacle is usually an impressive or memorable performance or display. It's kind of like that time I took a shit in an open B&Q toilet. A B&Q, for those of you from America, so you know, is kind of like the British Home Depot. So it's an unplumbed porcelain bowl. I just took a shit in it. My dad wasn't very impressed, so he pulled me to the side and said, "What the fuck do you think you're doing?" And well, the best thing I could do was just to drop my trousers and shit some more, quite noisily actually, like wet, pattering shit all over the fucking tile floor. Now that's a spectacle. Wait, what? Not, oh, you meant in the context of magic. Oh, I wish I hadn't shared that story now. Spectacle is the new Rakdos mechanic, an improved variation on the Gruul mechanic from the first Ravnica block, Bloodthirst. What is Bloodthirst, I hear you ask? Well, don't worry, Daddy PK's here to teach you a thing or two. To be bloodthirsty is to either literally crave blood, or perhaps metaphorically want to shed blood. Blood as in conflict, to be up for a scuffle, a bit like a tanked up squaddy behind a kebab shop at 1 o'clock in the morning in Scunthorpe. It's a willingness to kill, fight, or maim just because you're a bit drunk and your kebab tastes like sick. Oh, in terms of Magic the Gathering. Right, sorry. In terms of Magic the Gathering, it's a shit mechanic from the first block of Ravnica. Wait, sorry, what? In terms of magic mechanics. Oh. Okay, in terms of magic mechanics, Bloodthirst was a shit mechanic from the first Ravnica block that came back in Magic 2012 that no one wanted. It's a rather linear mechanic with rather small amounts of design space, so essentially if you've damaged your opponent, not loss of life, but damaged your opponent, normally through combat, shall we say, a creature with Bloodthirst 1 would come in with 1 counter on it, or a creature with Bloodthirst 2 would come in with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Basically, it's a linear, aggressive draft archetype that no one really cared much about and didn't want to see come back. Come to think of it, I think I drafted one Skarsgård Pit Skulker, I think it's called, in like a Chaos draft, or maybe a cube at some point, because it's one of the premier aggressive green 1-drops in that archetype in cube for a while. Spectacle is essentially a fixed Bloodthirst that allows for more design space. You can do more interesting, exciting things with it. Firstly, as friend of the channel Rob, who's also my Monday night co-host other than the stream, pointed out, it references back to the second version of the demon Rakdos, the guild's leader. He could not be cast unless an opponent had lost life, and he modified the casting costs of following creatures depending upon how much life opponents had lost that turn. This is kind of worrying as he sucked and no one played with him except people with big demon daddy fetishes, but you know, each to their own, I don't judge. If you're into like demons and shit, I mean, whatever. I like curry, you like demons. Spectacle is an alternative casting cost for some cards in this new set. This alternative casting cost is only accessible if the opponent has lost life this turn. This can then modify how the card is played and what it does, as seen on Rafter Demon, where you get the extra value of them discarding a card, or Rick's Maddie Reveler, where it actually changes the card draw on the card itself, thanks to the Spectacle cost. Both were freshly spoiled, and both, in my opinion, are somewhat unexciting. However, there is one light at the end of the spectacular tunnel. Do you get it? Spectacular tunnel. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, actually. It just alludes to Spectacle. Kill me. Light Up the Stage is a 3-mana sorcery that allows you to draw 2 virtual cards until the end of your next turn. Till the end of your next turn. That's generally quite good. It's that unique take on card advantage that we've seen over the last few years that Red has been getting, where it exiles as opposed to loots like it used to do traditionally. I do like that they're exploring more defined or interesting design space for Red. However, with Red being pushed so much recently, it's kind of also frustrating because Red shouldn't get to do everything that Blue does, for example, although Blue gets to do everything that everyone else does, so I don't know, fuck Blue, I guess. The exciting part of this is that the card has a Spectacle cost of just 1 red mana. This could give burn decks and aggro decks the necessary refuel needed to close out games in Standard, and it plays very well with Experimental Frenzy, essentially allowing you to expand from looking at 1 card to the top 3 cards for the low cost of 1 red mana. I also think this card could have applications in Eternal formats too. Arc-like Phoenix decks are looking to cast multiple spells to put them to play in both Modern and potentially in Legacy as well, and Gut Shot enables the spell with the damage. So you've already got 2 spells there. All you need to do is find another low cost one, but potentially another Gut Shot, for example. It basically makes reanimating Arc-Like Phoenixes a piece of piss. Also keep in mind, like I said, you get these cards till the end of your next turn to cast them, so the opportunity window is pretty big, and it makes it good in combo decks. Perhaps things like Waste Not Storm, for example. Between Whisk Factor, Runaway Steamkin, Phoenix, Frenzy, and this, it's safe to say that Red continues to be pushed by R&D, and I'm fucking terrified at that fact. But wait, there's more mechanics to explore! Well, we don't know what the Gruul, Simic, or Azorius ones are yet, but we do know what the Orzhov are getting. Let's quickly talk about Afterlife, which can be found on Tithe Tinkerer. Tithe Tinkerer? Tithe Taker, I don't know what his fucking name is. But what is Afterlife, I hear you ask? But don't worry, Big Daddy Kenobi's got you there, Sonny Jim. Let me teach you my ways. Well, the afterlife is a concept found across almost all religions and cultures globally. The idea that when we cease to live, our essence isn't scattered into a void, but instead continues on to live in some form of metaphysical state, literally life after death. I'm going to continue with the motif where I think I've got the wrong idea about what I'm meant to be talking about. I'm talking about the literal state of the word. Oh, we meant afterlife as in Magic the Gathering. Okay. I got you, fam. Well, the afterlife seems to play an important role in many cultures across the multiverse. The most explicitly explored would probably be that of the underworld on Theros. With Theros taking influence from Greco-Roman mythology, the afterlife manifests itself in a tangible way, a place you could actually visit even if it is ill-advised. Most interestingly, the coolest of white planeswalkers and one of my all-time favourite warrior women, Elspeth, is trapped there. Wait, what's that I hear you say? You meant mechanically? Not from a Vorthos or flavour perspective? Well, make your fucking minds up, kids. So Afterlife is basically the death trigger from Doom Traveler. Keyworded and slapped on cards that might already be good, but are a little bit overcosted. I expect to see some bomby 6 or 7 drop with a big Afterlife number that you play in Limited and then forget about and never play again. As well as various mid-range costed threats with varying numbers strapped to them too, that might be just a little bit too good. I mean, in Limited that is. It's functional. I think the mechanics probably going to be very, very good, because leaving bodies behind is very, very good, but fuck me if it's not a little bit dull. Okay, I know what you really came here for. It's to talk about hate bears. Let's talk about hate bears. Hate bears. Firstly, we have Tiddlywink Taker. Tithe Tinkerer. Tithe Taker. Oh, fuck off. It's kind of like a Thalia and Cat Jesus, but only in our turn, so only at the points that we don't want it to be like that, I guess. Yeah. But when it dies, it leaves behind a 1/1 black-white spirit token. Yeah, I guess that's something. I mean, the fact that it doesn't do much outside of our turn other than die to all the removal ever printed, including fucking Gut Shot that I mentioned earlier, is a little bit frustrating. It's probably good at hosing out on Coco and Spell Queller in Modern, or might mess with Vials in the Mirror against spirits and humans as well, but ultimately, as cool and as exciting as this card seems at first glance, I just think it's a bit meh when it comes to Death and Taxes. I just don't know what we would cut for it. I don't think it's bad, but I just don't think it's good either. The other reason I don't think this card will see much play is because there are better Taxes pieces out there that currently see little to no play, because there's no slot for them, or they just don't improve any actual matchups at the moment. We've got Vryn Wingmare, which is Thalia all the fucking time, and we've got Big Thalia, which taps down non-basics and creatures and makes the tempo game real. I could be wrong, but my gut reaction now that I've slept on it is that this card just isn't good enough to be in the deck, especially in Modern. Okay, so Tiddly Sprinkler is not going to be good enough, in my opinion. But what about Lavinia? Lavinia, Azorius Renegade, is wicked, especially in terms of flavour. She seems very cool. She's on the run, hiding in dilapidated buildings from Dovin Barnes surveillance Thopters. It reminds me a little bit of the Minority Report when Tom Cruise was running away from all the automated security shit in the rundown parts of the city. It's just pretty cool. However, she lost her protection from Red somehow, which would have pushed her into being probably very, very playable. She would have been lightning bolt proof and should block creatures in important matchups like Hollow One and Burn. I really wish they just kept her protection from Red. Would that have been too pushed? Really? Do you think? Across Lavinia's collection of weirdly worded lines of text, she hoses on Cascade, non-creature Tron payoffs, suspended cards, cards being cast off of soul lands, or from ritual effects like Dark Ritual and Desperate Ritual, miracled terminuses, free alternative casted Days and Force of Will effects a good portion of the time. She also hates on Lotus Bloom, Lotus Petal, and Lion's Eye Diamond, and a load of spells being cast off of Simian Spirit Guides as well. In short, she hits a lot of random shit that that probably makes her good enough in certain metagames. The problem I think is that she falls short in terms of Death and Taxes in both Modern and Legacies. I don't know where she improves our bad matchups. She stops elves from casting Natural Order prior to turn 4, but we often just die to their value cascade anyway. She absolutely hoses Charbelcher and similar decks, but perhaps a little too late to actually fucking matter in that matchup as well. She doesn't seem to tick any boxes that we can't already tick with Thalia and some combination of other cards like Prelate in Legacy. Look at it this way, if I'm going to make my mana base wonky and worse to splash for a card to improve bad matchups, it's going to be Oars of Pontiff for the Mirror and for Elves and any pesky Goblin tokens that the Storm decks make. But with all that said, it might be that a combination of Lavinia plus Thalia might just be enough to disrupt people and allow Death and Taxes enough room to apply pressure. So for this reason I'll certainly be trying her, but I just don't know how good she's going to be. Something I can guarantee you though, no matter what, is wherever I fall on her, good or bad, people on Reddit and other places will tell me that I'm wrong and that I'm stupid and I've got the wrong end of the stick. However, examples like Brightling and Palace Jailer show you, and I hate to say I told you so, but I fucking told you so. Anyway, beyond that, it looks like Dredge has a new toy, and by Dredge I mean humans. Both of these cards could have solid applications of messing with decks like Tron, and of course they're humans that easily slot into the deck, play with the troublesome synergies and are easy to cast. This will continue to happen until humans becomes too dominant. I give it 6 to 12 months before WotC has to ban something out of the deck because they just keep printing good utility or disruptive humans. I hope you've enjoyed the video and hearing my thoughts on the spoiler cards. I'll be making more videos around spoilers, new mechanics and such as the opportunity arises. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, ring my bell, like the video and drop me a comment with the worst place that you've ever had to take a shit. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet, and I'll see you all very, very soon.